There are going to be times when you are the only black or melanated brown skinned woman invited into the room. Welcome to Alcheminity, because turning pain into power is sexy. I'm your host and creator of this here society, Timmesha, Miss Burgess, if you're nasty. I am the queen bee here of this colony, for those of you that don't know. Okay, queen bee. I can't say, uh, um, what is it, beehive, because Beyonce's got that. So I just say colony. But listen, to those of you who are here around Alcheminity, this is for you. This is no mistake. And I'm glad you're here. For those of you who are subscribed here, thank you for being subscribed here. I'm glad to know that what I share, what I write, what I speak about resonates with you on a deeper level. For those of you who aren't subscribed here, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. And please comment. I love to hear from y'all in the comments. In the comment section, that's where I am. I do respond to comments that really stick out to me, that stand out to me. So yeah, get in the comments, chat with other people that are commenting. You don't have to just talk to me. You could talk back to other folks, whether you agree or disagree. Get in the comments, okay? So let's jump right into this message. Sometimes you're the only melanin, brown-skinned, black woman or person invited into the room. But this is for my ladies, particularly for my melanin women and brown skinned women, whether you are Black American, whether you are Native American or Indigenous, whether you are Hispanic, okay? You know that you have some melanin blood in you. This is for you. Sometimes you're the only one invited to the rooms. And a lot of us have grown up, specifically, just speaking from experience, a lot of us grew up not knowing how to develop socially in diverse settings. Now, I grew up in Miami, Florida, which is a melting pot of cultures. A lot of my friends were Black and also Hispanic. So I had some experience in diverse settings growing up in Miami, but still at home we were, all melanin people, melanin siblings, melanin father, melanin mother, melanin, neighbors, everybody. And I didn't see my parents or my mom, they didn't have white friends that they invited over to the barbecues, or the fish fries, they invited all folks that look like us. And so we grew up with this belief system that everything we do professionally or personally has to be amongst people that look just like us. And just transparently speaking, y'all, the biggest pains and backstabs that I've experienced in my life, some of the biggest betrayals that happened in my life happened from people that look just like me. And professionally, I definitely didn't know how to, communicate or integrate in diverse settings. I definitely didn't know how to do that because, again, everything that I saw growing up, professionally and personally, was done with people that looked just like you. Even, growing up as a church girl, I'm not a religious woman at all, but growing up, your parents try all that they can try, right? My mother made sure she had us in church every Sunday and all this kind of stuff. And so the churches that we went to were predominantly Black, were all Black. I didn't see any other cultures. Even though I grew up in Miami, our day-to-day lifestyle, as far as friends and family and hanging out in places that we frequented, were predominantly made up of melanin Black people. And so as I started on my spiritual journey and started to uncover all of who I am and what I am and why I'm here and what my purpose is, I realized that part of turning my pain into power meant to integrate in diverse settings. And let me tell you, things really began to shift for me earlier on in my career when I was consulting before 2020, before pivoting into all the stuff that I do now around mental health and sexuality, right? things really started to pivot for me when I started to network in more diverse settings. And a lot of the opportunities that would come to me were coming to me from people who did not look like me. And I would never follow up on those opportunities because I did not know how to converse or do business or, anything with people that didn't look like me. That just wasn't something that was instilled inside of me. And so I missed out on a lot of opportunities because I didn't know what I didn't know. I remember in middle school, I'm just having this memory right now, middle school, like 7th grade or 6th grade, 6th or 7th grade, my coach came to my house. He was a white coach. He came to my house, and I went out to try out for volleyball and basketball. And I did really well, much better in volleyball than I was at basketball. I did really well in the tryouts that my coach, white man, came to the house. He said, I want to talk to you. I'm going to talk to your parents because I really want you to play volleyball. You can be really good if I train you. And I was like, okay. So he came to my house and he tried to convince my mom at the time. My mom was home at the time. And she, he was just telling her how he thought I would be really good, how I was tall, how he could train me and I could go really far. And my mom looked at me and she said, do you want to play? And I said, no, I wanted to play basketball. Do y'all know why I chose basketball? I chose basketball because that's where all the black people were. I chose basketball because that's the game that black people went to. That was the sport that the black girls were a part of. There weren't any black girls in volleyball. I would have been the only one. And when I look back on that, I'm, now at this point in my life, again, we don't know what we don't know, but that would have changed the trajectory of my life had I been a little bit more confident, had I developed a little bit of comfort in diversity, right? Even though, again, I grew up in Miami, Florida, but I didn't know how to be amongst all, I didn't know how to be the only, excuse me, let me say it like this. This is better. I didn't know how to be the only black girl in anything. Again, growing up in Miami and in classrooms, yeah, there were other cultures, but I didn't know how to be me, a melanin girl, the only melanin girl amongst all of other cultures. And so I did not take that opportunity. When I look back on that spiritually, my spiritual insight that I have now tells me, girl, you probably could have gone to the Olympics, been on a Wheatie box and everything, right? So I didn't take that opportunity because I didn't know how to be the only black in anything. And those types of things started for me really, really early. I turned down several opportunities because I didn't know how to be the only black girl. For example, there was another girl, a white friend girl of mine in high school. She was such a sweetheart. And she loved that I could sing. She just clung to me because I used to sing, y'all. Yes, honey. I used to be a little songbird. And so she knew I used to sing. So anyway, she invited me to her church because she wanted me to sing at her church one time. And so I went to her church just to visit. And it was an all-white church, and I was the only black girl there at this church. I think there was a black man, but he was married to a white woman and was much older. And I didn't know how to integrate. So I didn't want to come and sing at her church because, again, growing up, I grew up in a Baptist Christian church where everybody's hollering all over the place and the songs were different. I didn't know how to sing, those types of songs or even be comfortable being the only black girl in an all-white church singing certain types of songs. So I just brought that up as an example as I became an adult and started going to different networking events. Now, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, so y'all know people call this Chocolate City. So there has not been for me many opportunities that have presented themselves where I was the only black woman in the room, not in Atlanta, but there have been opportunities that presented themselves where I was. And coming into power and coming into knowledge of myself and who I am and what I am now, I realize that sometimes you are the only Black woman invited into the room, specifically for those of you on this particular journey who have activated your missions and your purposes, or you're in the process of awakening your spiritual gifts and your abilities, your talents and your skills. You're in the process or on the journey of turning your pain into power. Maybe you're on the dark night of the soul journey and you're going to be rising into your phoenix, right? It's good that you hear this now, so you will be prepared and knowing what to do when these opportunities come to you, because they are going to come to you. For those of you melanin folks listening to this right now, okay? You are going to be the only one of, or if not the only, melanin brown skinned woman invited to certain rooms. Why? Because you have a very distinct mission and purpose and gifts to offer those people in that room. A lot of you on this journey, you're so divinely gifted that there are going to be people who don't look like you that come to you for your guidance, for your help, for your gifts. And it's your responsibility to give those gifts in whatever capacity you give your gifts, whether your gift is singing, dancing, writing, speaking, I don't know, fill in the blank. Whatever your gifts and your talents are, there are going to be people who are going to be coming to you for those specific reasons. And a lot of the times these people aren't going to look like you. And you are going to have to develop, again, we talk about this all the time, your emotional intelligence, your mental health, in order to be comfortable and confident in the type of attention that your gifts and your skills and your talents are going to bring you. Now, let's go a little bit deeper. I've missed out on money-making opportunities. I've missed out on opportunities that could have changed my life because I didn't know how to converse or be comfortable in settings where I was the only melanin woman. Okay? I heard this young lady one time say this phrase, and I'm gonna say it, even though it sounds like a little callous and it sounds a little juvenile, but I still like it. And she said, a lot of us have been afraid of white money. Now, we know there's no such thing as white money or black money or whatever kind of money, okay, Spanish money. There's no Latin money. There's no fucking such thing as that, right? But I got what she meant, being afraid of white money, meaning we only knew how to make money and take opportunities from people that looked like us, right? When you are in rooms, being the only melanin woman in certain rooms, the money talks are very different. The opportunities look very different. The way that folks move, even in their mannerisms are different. You know what I noticed when I've been in some of these rooms? I've been one of the only black, if not only black woman in these rooms. You become the center of attention. But you know what I noticed? And I'll come back to that in a minute. I noticed that I look around in mixed rooms that I've been in and then other rooms that I've been in. I noticed that a lot of us black women have this agreeable stance where every time somebody said something, somebody's talking to us, we're shaking our head up and down in agreement on everything that they're saying. You ever notice that? Like we agree with every single thing they're saying. It's like we do this head up and down, the shaking up and down, like we're saying yes, like we're listening to every word they're saying, because we want to come across as if we're agreeable. We want to come across as if we're listening to every word, and we probably are, but it doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they're saying. It doesn't mean you have to prove that you are listening to every word. Just listen. I noticed the difference between black women, we do that a lot. Melanin women, brown women, we do that a lot. And then I noticed other cultures, specifically, just stick to black and white here. Well, white women, even white men, when you are talking to them, when I am talking to them, they're not shaking their head up and down and hanging on every word. They're just intently listening. They're looking in my eyes and they are listening. And when they do like something that I said, or something has touched them, or I have, somehow, touched on something that they were able to resonate with, then they shake their head up and down in agreement. Like, yes, they feel that. Otherwise, overall, they are just intently listening. So I realized that a lot of intimidation can spur up in some of us melanin brown women because we've not been taught how to be comfortable and confident in certain conversations and in certain rooms, especially when you're the only one in that room that looks like you. Now, for those of you on this mission who are subscribed here to Alcheminity, and you are turning your pain into power, and you are sexy in doing it, right? And when I say because turning pain into power is sexy, it means that you have uncovered the power of alchemy. You have, you are learning or have learned to turn your pain into power. You know what your superpowers are. You're activating them. And that's very sexy to me. There's nothing sexier than a woman or a person who has come into knowledge of herself and her abilities and why she's come to this planet. There's nothing sexier than a woman who has developed her emotional intelligence and her mental health. So this is why we say because turning pain into power is sexy. Okay? You have glowed up in more ways than one. And so you have the sex appeal. You're all of a sudden magnetic and you're attractive. So those of you on this journey who have activated your powers and your superpowers, you will be the only melanin brown skinned woman invited to many rooms. You may be the only one of many in many rooms because of your gifts, because of your talents, because of your abilities, because of your skill. Okay, you are going to be the center of attention in these rooms. You are going to be respected in these rooms. Once again, the pains and the betrayals that I've experienced in my life have come from people that look just like me. I remember Lisa Nichols one time. She's a speaker and she has a platform called Motivating the Masses. If you don't know who Lisa Nichols is, please Google her, look her up. Okay. She is a phenomenal, powerful woman who got it out of the mud, honey. She came from humble beginnings, no silver spoon in the mouth, just like us, right? Those of us on this journey, you had to get it out of the mud yourself. And you've had divine helpers along the way, but you first had to get it out of the mud yourself. And so I remember she was doing a talk one time. And she was networking and, starting to connect with different people. And people from her hometown, even her family members were saying, look at Lisa, thinking she all that, going out there hanging around all them white people. And you know what Lisa said? She said, it didn't make any sense for me to stay around my hometown struggling with my own people. It didn't make sense. She said, I can't do nothing for my own people sitting around here struggling with them. So you damn right. I went out there and I got amongst people who were willing to listen, because you know what? You are not a hero in your own town. You are not necessarily a hero amongst the people that look like you, especially people you've grown up with, even your own family, because they remember the person who they saw struggling. They can't see the person that you have unbecome in order to become. They can't see your glow up or your level up, because all they remember seeing is you when you were down in the dumps or when you were struggling, right? So being the only melanin brown woman in the room, a lot of the times it's just going to happen. You must get amongst diverse people, diverse crowds, networking and integrating. And as I tell you this, I'm telling myself this too, because I realize that every time I've tried to do anything that was all black, even all black women, black men, black affair, all black this, all black, honey, it was always something that just didn't work for me. It didn't work out for me. There was a lot of cattiness, especially among, women. Y'all know how it is, black women. There was a lot of competition. There was a lot of this, crabs in a bucket mentality. There was a lot of, I'm gonna act like I support you and I believe in what you're doing, but really I'm just here for myself. I'm trying to get a leg up myself. I don't really give a damn about what you're doing, right? Or you may be doing good, but I don't want you to be doing better than me. We all have heard this before. And so it's important specifically for those of you who are turning your pain into power and have activated your gifts, to be amongst and around people and to network and integrate with people who do not look like you, because they will have a newfound appreciation for you and who you are and what your gifts and your talents and your skills and your abilities are, because they don't care about where you came from, right? They only care about who you are and what you bring to the room now, what you bring, to the table now. And if they do know about what your come up was, they admire it. Now, this is going to be a hard pill to swallow for many of you, but since many of you swallow anyway, go ahead and take this medicine. I noticed that as being the only black woman in some rooms that I've been in, are shocked to hear some of the things that Black women have gone through or go through just to get some sort of leg up in life. And so they are intrigued by the trials and tribulations that we've been through because they haven't seen some of the shit that we've been through. They don't know. Like, they literally do not know. I remember having a conversation with this one Caucasian woman, and she was shocked to hear about, like, I forget where she said she grew up, but I forget where it was. I don't know if it was Canada or somewhere. But do you know she was early 30s and did not know about slavery in America? Like, her parents didn't expose her to information about slavery. And you would think this is common knowledge, but she did not know it. I think maybe late 20s, early 30s. She had no knowledge of what slavery really was in America. She knew generally what slavery was, but she didn't know the effects and the propaganda that was set up against Black folk. And so you just think people know, and you think people have gone through some of the same things or have seen it, but they don't. And so when you are one of the only Black women in these rooms, they are intrigued by your story. They are intrigued by the fact that you don't look like what you've been through. And so they're curious what your magic is. They're curious how you look as good as you do, what your skills and your talents are. Some of the best songs and music and stuff is written through pain, right? And so people love, when you're in certain rooms, they love to hear, how you acquired your talent, how you were able to hone your skill. And, your stories are coming from pain. What you do is probably coming from something that you've been through, what you develop. Maybe you developed a business that helps other people because you've been through that very same thing. So they are intrigued by your story, and they're intrigued by your gifts, your talents, your abilities. And so when you are the only Black woman in this room, or in these rooms, when you're invited, know that you are invited because you have a story to tell that people in those rooms want to hear. You are somebody that they admire because you don't look like what you've been through. A lot of the times you're also the only Black woman or melanin woman or brown skinned woman in these rooms because you're attractive, right? You're magnetic. On an outwardly level, you are a beautiful person to a lot of these people in the room. A lot of the times you will be invited by men. You may be the only, not just only Black woman in the room, not only Black person in the room, but you may be one of the only Black females in the room amongst the majority of white men, Indian men, Asian men, whatever it is. Because they not only think you're beautiful, but they just admire what you share with the world. And so part of turning my pain into power for me is expanding my networks, expanding how I do business, expanding my professional networks. I do not do all Black anything, not anymore, not like I used to. Because again, when I did these types of things, when I did these types of events, when I would go to these networking events, it was always people in these rooms who were just trying to get a leg up over you, or who were competitive, especially if it was an all Black female event. Now, I will go if I am invited to speak, right? I will go if I'm invited, to offer something, because I have to offer it. It's part of my mission and purpose to offer whatever it is it is that I have been charged to offer to this planet and this world, and it's yours as well. I will go if I am called to come and speak and share this wisdom, because I want to see Black women evolve mentally and emotionally, and not be competitive, and not be messy, and not be this whole messy housewives identity, and not adopt that crap. Okay. So yes, I will go because I know, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect, right? Clearly I'm not, because y'all know my story, but I go as an example of what emotional intelligence and mental health looks like in a melanin avatar woman. Okay. And so, but I don't go to network. I go because I'm called to speak, right? So again, part of turning my pain into power, and part of what your journey is, turn your pain into power, is to expand your networks to people who do not look like you. Sometimes, and the majority of the times, you will be the only Black melanin woman in these rooms. And this is a part of your purpose and of your power. that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. If this resonated with you, please like this video. Please comment and share as well. If y'all want to dive deeper on these subjects, invite me out to speak at your next conference or webinar or seminar or panel discussion or whatever it is, because we can dive deeper on this stuff. I know a lot of this is kind of like information that's swept under the rug that, people don't really talk about publicly enough. But I am doing it. That's part of what my purpose is. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I am available for booking. You can email me at timmeshaburgess@gmail.com for more information. Don't forget to get your copy of Activate, Unorthodox Philosophies that explore anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts as symptoms of suppressed superpower. You can get your copy on Amazon in paperback or ebook. Don't forget to get your merch, Fear of Feminine Power is a Mental Disorder. You can get that on my website at timmeshaburgess.com. Also, y'all, thank you for your donations. Thank you for your super thanks. Thank you for the Cashapp. Thank you for the Zelle. Please continue to donate here in Alcheminity. This helps me keep the messages coming out. It helps me to expand and brand Alcheminity on a more international scale. It just kind of helps me do more of what you all love. Helps me bring more content to you. So in order for me to do that, please donate. Also, consider becoming a member. There are 3 membership levels. For those of you who have sent me emails just asking for some advice, some insight, some life, coaching advice. I am not a life coach, but I love some of the questions that you all send me. And if I have an answer for them, I definitely will respond. So consider becoming a member, a FIRE member, which is Ask Timmesha membership level. That way, when you do send your emails, I will have the time to meditate on your questions and give you the insight that Spirit has given me to give to you. So, for those of you who aren't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. Thank you for listening. I'll see y'all in the next cast. Ciao for now. Mwah.